there. MultiVersus continues to pump out new fighters at an astonishing rate. The most recent update brings Stripe to the battlefield, the Gremlins icon himself. As is our ritual, let's go through Stripe's origins and find out where his moveset was first seen. Get ready for some 1980s and 90s nostalgia. Let's do this! When selecting Stripe in the menu, he can be seen breaking out of his pod to show he originally came from Gizmo. Gizmo gets wet, Gizmo spawns Mogwai, Mogwais eat after midnight, Gremlins are created. Gremlins touch sunlight, Gremlins melt. It's the circle of life. By the way, this is what Stripe looks like as a normal Mogwai. Super cute. The Mohawk is his calling card, and in the movie he ate chicken after midnight and thus became the Stripe we all know today.
Brash Gremlin.
The majority of Stripe's moves come from an epic fight scene at the end of the first movie. As the very last Gremlin alive, he makes one last stand in a department store. The skateboard move is here thanks to Stripe's mode of transport around the store. Admit it, he can skateboard better than you. His muttering is a little bit weird though. Well, maybe he isn't the greatest after all. When he loses a match, his animation will show him falling over his skateboard. And I don't think giving himself concussion helps much either. Stripe's win animation, on the other hand, is a homage to another mode of transport. His repositioning skills in the store, he uses a child's trike in a battle to the death. He knows how to be cool under pressure. Moments before this, Stripe uses another move from the game, throwing saw blades bare-handed like a complete badass. And if you need more detail, they are 7¼ blades. In-game, Stripe is brilliant at wielding these things, and FYI, the blade will roll down the side of the map to knock off those people who wall cling too long. Very useful. In-game, Stripe will throw out a boombox and shoot a crossbow at it. This may seem like a really weird choice, yet it does have meaning. In the movie, Stripe has Billy pinned down and shoots a bolt right through his arm. To block the next shot, Billy raises up a boombox for protection. Not to be beaten, Stripe next charges with a chainsaw in hand, which is yet another move that we find in MultiVersus. The bright yellow chainsaw is iconic, even though it's only in the movie for a few seconds. And actually, he's dragged away from bright lights by it, so technically it saved his life. I can see why he kept it around. Oh, and that actually brings us to the dodge animation, which briefly makes Stripe dizzy. It turns out it does happen in the Gremlins movie when Stripe hits his head on the wall following that chainsaw ride. Listen up and you'll hear the Looney Tunes twittering birds. The gun Stripe wields in the game is the next weapon he finds in the movie, spotting the handgun in a display cabinet before climbing to the top of a water fountain and firing repeatedly. His MultiVersus aim has improved remarkably, whereas in the Gremlins film, he has to be really up close and personal to hit a shot, like that time at the poker table. Stripe's basic combo includes many slashes, and at the end there can be a lunging bite. In Gremlins, Stripe takes a few digs with his nails, but the second film seems to be the real inspiration here. There's a jump scare with that bite animation. Are you ready for the jump scare?
Time zone. I mean, it's always midnight somewhere.
This is Mohawk, who is the incarnation of Stripe in the second Gremlins movie. He eats through a freaking steel workstation, latches onto a random dude, and takes swipes at everyone around them. And even finishes with a sweet right hook. I don't think that's in the game yet. Stripe has the ability to bring out TNT, and I really struggled to find this in the films. I even scanned these packed scenes for the culprit, and here it is. There's a bunch of demolition gremlins, of course, and the explosion was likely inspired when a cinema went boom in the first film. Speaking of that dynamite Stripe has, his alternative attire uses it after a loss. He tries to catch it and accidentally swallows it instead. Come on, we've all been there at some point. This is likely a nod to the countless times the Looney Tunes have eaten explosives. And remember, Warner Bros. Controls both those entities. They were so closely entwined at one point that the Looney Tunes introduced Gremlins 2, and in that movie, one of the Gremlins gets a WB tattoo. A more modern version of swallowing explosives can be found in the Mask movie. Remember that? Stanley Ipkiss would be a great character in this game. I'm getting sidetracked, back on point. Stripe's alternative attire when winning goes back to his trusty chainsaw with this epic pose, and just like the movie, it runs away again. Luckily, he lets go this time and has a little giggle to himself. And finally, emoting with Stripe lets us hear a ton of voice lines. He'll say things like,
Green, mean, fight machine!
the mean green fighting machine was the nickname of Lou Ferrigno's version of the Hulk. It was the nickname of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before Donkey gave that title to Shrek.
You a mean green fighting machine. Together we'll scare the spit out anybody that crosses us.
And now Stripe has stepped up to claim it for himself.
Green, mean, fight machine!
Another line feels like a very deliberate tease to another character that has to be coming to MultiVersus sometime in the future.
Get over here!
Get over here! He has to be talking about Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
Get over here!
Or am I getting over my head again? What do you think? Right, I think I got everything. How did I do? If I missed anything, please let me know and I'll add it to the next episode of 69 Video Game Easter Eggs. By the way, you should totally check out the other videos in this series because my self-esteem needs a boost. Thank you kindly. I'm Adam, you're awesome. I'll see you next time.